What if I told you that the most dangerous enemy for those of us over 60 is not a robber who breaks into your home in the middle of the night? This enemy is far more ruthless. It doesn't steal your money. It steals your voice. It steals your ability to walk on your own. It steals the independence you've spent a lifetime building. And it doesn't break in from the outside. It's been there all along, hiding in your daily habits, waiting for one single moment, right after you open your eyes to a new day. That is the truth about a heart attack and a stroke. They are silent assassins, and their stage is set in the first, fragile hours of the morning. Are you afraid of waking up one day to find one side of your body no longer listening to you? Are you afraid of becoming a burden to your children, of depending on others for the smallest, most personal tasks? I have lived that fear. The fear of an invisible blood clot, of high blood pressure spiking in the dark, and of the subtle stroke warning signs we dismiss as just getting older. But it's not old age. These are traps. And today, with all the elderly wisdom I have earned, I am not just going to talk. I am going to take you by the hand and walk you through 7 of these silent traps, right inside your own home. These are not the tips you've heard 100 times. These are the secrets that only those who have stood on the line between life and death can truly understand. And I want you to join me for a moment. Do you realize that in the first 60 seconds after waking, you may have already walked into the first trap? If you have a habit of jumping out of bed the moment your alarm rings, I want you to be brave and type the number 1 in the comments below. This isn't for judgment. This is the first step our community takes together to protect our senior health. And please, don't rush to grab a pen and paper. Stay with me until the very end. Because understanding these 7 traps is one thing, but knowing how to disarm them every single day is another. At the end of this video, I will give you the real key. Not just a list, but a morning safety shield, a simple, step-by-step process to turn your most fragile moment into your most powerful one. That is my promise to you. Now, let us step together into the first trap. The one called the rush. Have you ever had that moment? The one that lasts for just a single second after you stand up, when your vision goes gray, your ears ring, and the floor beneath you seems to disappear. A moment of blindness. Most of us just wave it away, thinking, I must be getting old. But that isn't aging. It is a distress signal from your brain. It is the warning sign of the first, most dangerous trap in the morning for anyone over 60, jumping out of bed too quickly. After my dear friend Arthur's fall, the one I told you about, I couldn't sleep. That haunting memory forced me to start digging, to read everything I could find. And I discovered truths that sent a chill down my spine. This isn't guesswork. This is science. Researchers at the American Heart Association, AHA, call this condition orthostatic hypotension. In simple terms that Harold can understand, it's when you stand up, gravity suddenly pulls a large amount of blood down to your legs, and our aging hearts just can't pump it back up to the brain fast enough. In a study published in the prestigious medical journal JAMA, scientists revealed that in older adults, the simple act of standing up can reduce blood and oxygen flow to the brain by up to 25% within the first 3 minutes. 25%. Imagine trying to start a car with only 3/4 of a tank of gas. Our brain is the same, it sputters, it loses its bearings. And the consequences? The National Institute on Aging, NIA, published an alarming figure. Seniors who regularly experience this moment of blindness have a 3 times higher risk of falls and bone fractures. A fall isn't just a bruise. At our age, it can be the start of a long stay in a hospital bed, a loss of independence, and worse, it can lead to a blood clot forming and causing a stroke. Every time I close my eyes, I can still hear the dry, hollow thud from Arthur's bathroom that day. He didn't have a stroke at that moment. The fall stole his confidence. But it was the fear, the lack of movement after that fall, that silently allowed a blood clot to form later. A little rush in the morning indirectly stole the joyful final years of my friend's life. And that is why I want you to pause for a second and be honest with yourself. Have you ever experienced this moment of blindness? Even for a fleeting second? If the answer is yes, I want you to share that by commenting the word yes below. If you've been fortunate enough to have never felt it, type the word no. This small act lets me, and our entire community, know that you are not alone in this silent battle. But here is the most important part: we can win. We can turn science into action. From all that research, I created a ritual for myself. It's not a tip, it's a shield. I call it the Golden 90-Second Ritual. It is powerful because it respects the rhythm of your body. Step 1: 30 seconds of stillness. After your alarm is off, don't move. Just spend 30 seconds breathing. This is when you allow your heart rate to stabilize after sleep. Step 2: 30 seconds of sitting. Slowly, very slowly, sit up and place your feet on the floor. And just sit there for another 30 seconds. Science calls this the phase where the blood vessels in your legs adapt, preparing to push blood back to your heart. Step 3: 30 seconds of standing. Hold on to a sturdy support and stand up straight. Do not take a step yet. Remain standing for one final 30 seconds. This is the moment your brain gets the signal and makes its final adjustments for balance. 3 steps. 90 seconds. That is all it takes to tell gravity, today, I am in control. Those 90 seconds are not wasted time, they are the wisest investment you can make for a safe day and an independent life. Make it a habit. Because after you've stood up safely, so many of us immediately walk right into the second trap, a far more subtle trap, a warm, fragrant one that we brew for ourselves every single morning. Let's explore that one, right now. After we've conquered gravity with the Golden 90-Second Ritual, we feel safe, don't we? We step into the kitchen, and what awaits us? A familiar aroma, a promise of alertness, a warm hug in a mug. A cup of coffee. Or a strong cup of tea. For millions, it is an essential rite of passage. It's not just a beverage, it's a companion, a signal to the brain that the day has truly begun. But, what if I told you that this companion, when met at the wrong time, is the most dangerous traitor to your heart? This is the second trap, drinking coffee or tea on an empty stomach. I know what you're thinking. Harold, don't take my coffee away from me. I understand. I was once a man who couldn't live without it. I still remember my old neighbor, David. He was a retired engineer, a man with a mind as sharp as a razor. Every morning, I'd see him on his porch with a mug of black coffee, no sugar, no cream. He called it his intellectual fuel. But there was a truth that both David and I were blind to. Coffee and tea are, by their nature, diuretics. That means they make your body lose water. After an 8-hour night without a single sip, our bodies are already in a state of mild dehydration. And the very first thing we do is introduce a substance that makes the condition worse. And when the body is dehydrated, what happens to our blood? It gets thicker. Imagine that instead of a clear, flowing stream, our blood becomes like thick, viscous honey, struggling to move through vessels that are no longer as flexible as they used to be. But that's not all. Caffeine is also a powerful vasoconstrictor. It's like squeezing a garden hose shut. It makes your blood pressure spike instantly. Researchers at Harvard Medical School conducted a study and found that drinking coffee on an empty stomach can raise your systolic blood pressure by 10 to 15 points within 30 minutes. For someone who already has hypertension, this is like throwing a lit match into a room full of gasoline. Thick blood, struggling to flow through suddenly constricted vessels, can you picture it? It is the perfect recipe for creating a blood clot. A tiny, silently formed clot can begin its deadly journey to the brain. David, my brilliant neighbor, passed away after a massive stroke. The doctors didn't find much plaque, but they found a clot that had blocked the main artery feeding his brain. When I visited his family, his wife, Mary, cried and told me, "He only ever had coffee in the morning, Harold." He said breakfast made him sleepy. That sentence has haunted me. The fuel for his intellect was, in the end, the very thing that extinguished it. And I want to ask you a very personal question. This morning, what was the first liquid you put into your body? If it were plain water, please comment with the word water. If it were coffee or tea, I ask you to be brave and acknowledge it by commenting with the word coffee. This acknowledgement is not a confession. It is a promise to yourself that, starting tomorrow, we will change. And that change does not mean you have to abandon your old friend. Not at all. It simply means we must introduce it to another friend before they meet. Here is the solution, a protective ritual I've adopted: drink a large glass of warm water first. Think of it as a rain shower for your body after a long drought. It thins the blood, it gently awakens the digestive system, and it creates a safe buffer in your stomach. Wait about 15 to 20 minutes after your water, and then enjoy your cup of coffee or tea. By doing this, you are no longer throwing a lit match into a gas-filled room. You are inviting a friend into a home that is prepared, safe, and ready to welcome them. It is a minuscule change, but it provides monumental protection. It is how we turn a potentially harmful habit into a safe pleasure. And after we've protected our hearts from this dangerous kiss, we will walk together into the bathroom. A private place, a place of relief, but also a place that hides the third trap, a trap involving pressure and straining that no one ever wants to talk about. Let's pull back that curtain of secrecy together. There are battles fought without a single gunshot. They take place in silence, behind closed doors. And one of the most arduous battles a senior faces each day happens in a place of utmost privacy, the bathroom. This is a topic people often avoid. But I, Harold, will not avoid it. Because to be silent in the face of danger is to be its accomplice. The third trap, a subtle and deadly one, is this: straining on the toilet. It sounds simple, even trivial, doesn't it? But science has a very serious name for it: defecation syncope. It is a real and documented medical phenomenon. Let me explain it by talking about an invisible string inside our bodies, a grand maestro that conducts nearly our entire being. Scientists call it the vagus nerve. It controls your heart rate, your breathing, and your digestive system. When we strain too hard, we are performing an act that doctors at the Cleveland Clinic, one of the world's leading hospitals, call the Valsalva maneuver. This act of holding your breath and bearing down creates immense pressure inside your chest. Instantly, your blood pressure skyrockets. Blood is compressed, struggling to return to the heart. But the tragedy lies in the moment right after. When you exhale, the pressure is suddenly released. The vagus nerve, in a protective effort, abruptly hits the brakes, causing your heart rate and blood pressure to plummet uncontrollably. A study published in the European Heart Journal revealed that this violent fluctuation in blood pressure can rupture the stable plaques in our arteries. When a plaque ruptures, the body responds by forming a blood clot to patch the injury, and that clot can block the vessel, leading to a heart attack. This is not a vague risk. The American Stroke Association also warns that this sudden change in pressure can increase the risk of bursting small blood vessels in the brain, causing a hemorrhagic stroke. I will never forget the story a nurse told me during my days in the hospital. She spoke of a patient, a retired Army colonel, a strong, proud man. He had survived 2 wars, only to collapse in his bathroom. Not a single word of farewell. No prior signs. His final battle was a silent one, and he lost. That story taught me a bitter lesson: strength isn't found in straining, it is found in the wisdom not to have to. And today, I want you and me to look at this issue seriously. Constipation isn't just an inconvenience. It is a risk factor for senior health that can be life-threatening. If you have ever faced this condition, even occasionally, I want you to acknowledge it by commenting with the number 1 below. If you have been fortunate enough not to, please comment with the number 0. Your acknowledgement is powerful because it allows us to seek solutions. And the solution is not found in harsh laxatives. The solution lies in changing the smallest, science-backed habits. First, water. The National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine recommend that older men consume about 3.7 liters and women about 2.7 liters of total fluids per day, including water from food. Second, fiber. Add things like oatmeal, sweet potatoes, apples, pears, and green vegetables to your meals. They are not just nature's brooms, they nourish a healthy gut microbiome. Third, movement. A gentle daily walk, as we've discussed, not only helps your heart but also stimulates bowel motility. And finally, a small tip from gastroenterologists themselves: posture. A study in the journal Digestive Diseases and Sciences proved that squatting or using a small footstool can significantly reduce straining and the time spent on the toilet. This simple act changes the angle of the rectum, allowing for a more natural and effortless process. Do not be ashamed to talk about this. Treat it with the same seriousness as checking your high blood pressure every day. Caring for your digestive system is caring for your heart. Promise me that from this day forward, you will never turn the bathroom into a battlefield again. Make it a place of relief and safety. Because right after you step out, another trap awaits. A trap involving water, but not the kind you drink. It's about temperature and the shock it can deliver to your entire vascular system. We will face that one, together, right now. Water. It can be the stream of life, washing away our fatigue, bringing a sense of renewal. Or, it can be the shock of death. It all depends on one single thing we often take for granted: temperature. Welcome to the fourth trap, a trap hidden within the warm steam of your bathroom, showering with water that is suddenly too hot or too cold. We often think of bathing as a moment of absolute relaxation. A stream of hot water to soothe aching muscles. A spray of cool water to awaken the body. But for a body over the age of 60, the line between relaxation and danger is as thin as a single strand of hair. Let me tell you my own story. It was a few months after my first heart attack. I was home, my body still weak, and I craved the feeling of being clean, of washing away the scent of the hospital. I thought a little cool water would make me feel alert. I stepped into the bathroom, and I turned the faucet. The moment that water hit my chest, I couldn't breathe. My chest seized up, my heart hammered against my ribs like a bird trapped in a cage. It wasn't a feeling of refreshment. It was an assault. In that second, I realized my own body had become a stranger. The very thing that once brought me joy was now a threat. This is not an imagined feeling. Science calls this the cold shock response. A study published in the medical journal The Lancet revealed that when the body is suddenly exposed to cold water, the peripheral blood vessels constrict instantly. Imagine thousands of tiny doors all over your body slamming shut at once. Your heart, at this moment, must work ferociously like a frantic pump to push blood through those narrow openings. Your high blood pressure skyrockets. Your heart rhythm becomes erratic. And in a system that already has plaque buildup, this immense pressure can rupture a plaque, creating a blood clot in an instant. The British Heart Foundation has warned that this is one of the leading causes of sudden heart attacks in older adults, even those who swim during the summer. So, what about hot water? It's safer, right? Not necessarily. Water that is too hot creates the opposite problem. It causes your blood vessels to dilate too quickly. Blood rushes to the skin, and the blood flow to your brain is suddenly reduced. This is the very reason you feel dizzy or lightheaded when you step out of a hot bath. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, reports that a majority of serious, injurious falls among older adults happen right in the bathroom. A single slip from dizziness can lead to tragic consequences. So there it is. On one side, the risk of a blockage, on the other, the risk of a fall. We are, in effect, walking on a tightrope. And I want to ask you, what is your habit? Are you someone who loves the warm, comforting feeling of hot water, or the refreshing, awakening sensation of cool water? Please share with me by commenting with the word warm or cool below. This is how we can better understand our habits and those of our community. Fortunately, we do not have to walk that tightrope. There is a safer path in the middle. The solution lies in one word: moderation. Apply the Goldilocks principle, just like in the fairy tale: not too hot, not too cold, but just right. 1. Warm the bathroom first. Before you undress, close the door and run the hot water for a minute. The steam will raise the room's temperature, reducing the initial thermal shock to your body. 2. Enter slowly. Do not step directly under the shower head. Let your hands and feet get accustomed to the water temperature first. Give your body time to send signals and adapt. 3. Choose a just right temperature. The water should only be slightly warmer than your body temperature. It should feel pleasant, not jarring. If your skin turns red, that's a sign the water is too hot. And 4. Exit safely. Have a dry towel and a bathrobe ready. The moment you turn off the water, dry yourself and put on the robe immediately to avoid getting chilled as your body temperature changes again. Bathing is not just about cleaning the body. It is an act of respect and of listening. Listening to what your heart is trying to tell you. And after our bodies have been safely cleansed, we face another choice. The choice of the fuel we consume. And you would be surprised to know that the wrong breakfast can be even more dangerous than skipping it altogether. We will explore that subtle trap, right now. They often say, eat breakfast like a king. A beautiful piece of advice, promising a day full of energy. But there is a more important question that few ever ask: what is that king eating? Because the wrong breakfast is many times more dangerous than skipping the meal altogether. Welcome to the fifth trap, the most subtle of them all, disguised in the form of delicious, comforting foods: eating breakfast the wrong way. This is not a direct assault like a thermal shock, nor a sudden fall. This is a silent invasion. An invasion by sugar. Let me tell you about Eleanor, a wonderful woman I met in my cardiac support group. She was a music teacher, her hands danced across the piano keys like magic. She was always proud of her breakfast. A glass of orange juice, a bowl of instant cereal with milk, and a few slices of white toast with jam. She called it her happy breakfast. She had no idea that her happy breakfast was silently pushing her to the edge of a catastrophe. Let's analyze that meal through the lens of science. Boxed orange juice, instant cereal, white bread, sweet jam, they all share one thing in common: they are simple carbohydrates that convert to sugar in your bloodstream almost instantly. That meal creates something that scientists at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health call a glycemic storm. Your blood sugar skyrockets. To cope, your pancreas must work overtime, releasing a massive amount of insulin to clean up that sugar. And this is where the real problem begins. That huge insulin surge doesn't just clean up, it overcleans, causing your blood sugar to crash precipitously soon after. This violent up and down, like a roller coaster, creates an extremely dangerous environment inside your body. A large study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association, JAHA, followed thousands of people and concluded that those who regularly ate high glycemic breakfasts had a significantly higher risk of cardiovascular disease and death from all causes. Why? Because that storm causes three terrible things. First, it creates system-wide inflammation, making plaques in your arteries unstable and more likely to rupture. Second, it increases the production of triglycerides, a harmful type of fat in the blood. And third, the subsequent blood sugar crash leaves you feeling fatigued and shaky, and your brain is starved of energy, increasing the risk of falls and confusion. Eleanor was hospitalized after a transient ischemic attack. She had fainted right at her piano, about 2 hours after breakfast. Her blood sugar had dropped to a dangerous low. Her happy breakfast had almost become her last meal. She cried when she realized that the foods she loved were her enemies. And now, I want you to be honest with yourself. Think about your typical breakfast. What does it look like? If it often includes sweets, white bread, or sugary cereals, please comment with the number 1. If your breakfast usually consists of eggs, oatmeal, or vegetables, please comment with the number 2. There is no judgment here. Only awareness. And the solution is not to starve yourself. The solution is to choose a wiser king for your breakfast. A king who rules not with sugar, but with sustainable energy. Build your breakfast on 3 golden pillars recommended by the American Diabetes Association. 1. Protein, eggs, plain Greek yogurt, nuts. Protein keeps you full longer and stabilizes blood sugar. 2. Fiber, rolled oats, not the instant, sugary kind, whole wheat toast, avocados, berries like strawberries and blueberries. Fiber slows down the absorption of sugar. 3. Healthy fats, avocados, olive oil, nuts. They provide sustained energy for your brain and heart. Try a simple breakfast: 2 boiled eggs, a slice of whole wheat toast with half an avocado, and a handful of strawberries. You will feel the difference. You won't have that immediate, stuffed feeling, but you will have a stable source of energy that lasts until lunch. Remember, breakfast isn't just about filling an empty stomach. It's about setting the rhythm for your entire day. A stable, heart-safe rhythm, or the chaotic, dangerous rhythm of a blood sugar roller coaster. That choice is in your hands. And once you've fueled your body correctly, there is another trap, one that isn't on your plate, but in the very air you breathe, in the images you see. An invisible enemy that can raise your blood pressure faster than a strong cup of coffee. Let us unmask it together. Imagine a peaceful morning. You've risen safely. You've had your warm glass of water. You've eaten a heart-healthy breakfast. You settle into your favorite chair, and what do you do next? You reach for the newspaper. You turn on the television. You open your smartphone. And you, by your own choice, have just administered a dose of poison. This is the 6th trap, the most invisible and perhaps the most toxic of them all: consuming negative, stress-inducing news first thing in the morning. Do you realize it? The greatest enemy of an aging heart is not cholesterol, it is cortisol. The stress hormone. And nothing triggers the production of cortisol faster or more potently than the fear, anger, and helplessness delivered by negative headlines each morning. I was once a victim of this trap. Every morning, I needed to get up to date. I read about wars, disasters, and injustices. I could feel my heart beating faster, my fists clenching. I would argue with the politicians on the television screen, men and women who didn't even know I existed. My wife, Martha, used to say, "Harold, you're torturing yourself. Come have a cup of tea with me." But I was too busy saving the world in my mind. I didn't realize that while I was fighting battles somewhere far away, a real enemy, cortisol, was waging a chemical war right inside my own body. This isn't a feeling. This is biology. The American Psychological Association, APA, has published countless studies showing the direct link between chronic psychological stress and cardiovascular events. When you are stressed, your body releases cortisol. This hormone immediately issues commands: increase heart rate, increase blood sugar, and most importantly, raise your high blood pressure. It is a survival mechanism from prehistoric times, designed to help us flee from predators. But today, that predator is living right inside our television screens. A groundbreaking study from scientists at the University of California tracked the cortisol levels of older adults and found that those with a habit of watching morning news had cortisol levels up to 40% higher than those who did not. 40%. That number isn't just a statistic. It is a sentence. Because chronically high cortisol levels will erode the lining of your blood vessels, making them stiff and vulnerable to damage. It's like constantly rubbing sandpaper on a plastic pipe. And when the vessel lining is damaged, the body tries to patch it by creating plaque. The high blood pressure from stress can then rupture one of those plaques, forming a blood clot, and you already know the rest of the story. The greatest regret of my life isn't the business opportunities one missed. It's the mornings I spent arguing with the news instead of holding Martha's hand and watching the birds outside our window. I let that poison steal my peace, and perhaps, indirectly contributed to the weakening of my own heart. And what is your morning routine? What form does your poison take? The newspaper, the TV news channel, or the posts on Facebook? Share it with me. Please comment with the word paper, TV, or phone. Let us name our enemy together. And let us disarm it together. The solution is not to live in a cave, ignorant of the world. The solution is to practice intelligent information dieting, especially in the morning. 1. Choose silence. Spend the first 15 minutes of your new day in stillness. Just listen to the birds, the wind, or your breath. Let your nervous system begin in peace. 2. Choose music. Instead of the news, put on some gentle, instrumental music. Numerous studies, including one published in the journal Deutsches Arzteblatt International, have proven that classical music can significantly lower heart rate and blood pressure. 3. Choose a connection. Talk to your spouse. Ask them about their dreams. Plan something small for the day together. Human connection creates oxytocin, the love hormone, which is the most powerful natural antidote to cortisol. Do not let the world's problems steal the peace from your own home. You deserve to start your day with a tranquil soul. Because after you have protected your mind from this poison, there is one final trap we must face. This is perhaps the simplest trap, yet it causes the most tragic consequences. A trap of forgetfulness, of a tiny, overlooked pill, and the price paid for it. We have walked together through 6 traps. We have learned to rise safely, to shield our vessels from coffee and sugar, to turn the bathroom into a sanctuary, and to keep our minds at peace. We have built an almost perfect fortress. But even the strongest fortress can fall because of one small, forgotten gate. And this is the final trap, the 7th trap. It is not an action you take, but an action you do not take. It is the trap of forgetfulness, forgetting to take your medication on time, especially blood pressure pills. I know. At our age, memory sometimes plays tricks on us. We can remember the name of a childhood friend with perfect clarity, yet forget why we just walked into a room. Forgetting a tiny pill seems like such a normal thing. But to your heart and your brain, it is not normal. It is a betrayal. Imagine your high blood pressure is a wild beast locked in a cage. Each pill you take daily represents the iron bars of that cage, keeping the beast from escaping and ravaging your body. When you forget a dose, you are unintentionally leaving a gap in the cage door. And that beast has been waiting. Doctors at the Mayo Clinic have issued a very clear warning. Our blood pressure has a natural rhythm. It is typically lowest at night and begins to surge in the early morning hours, just before we wake up. This is known as the morning blood pressure surge. The blood pressure pill you take each day, especially the 24-hour extended release type, is designed for one critically important mission: to blunt the fangs of that morning surge, to keep it from becoming too dangerous. When you miss a dose, you are allowing that wave to crash down without any protective barrier. A large-scale study published in Stroke, one of the world's leading journals on the subject, found that the highest risk of stroke occurs precisely during these morning hours. And one of the leading risk factors for that is non-adherence to blood pressure therapy. It doesn't just increase the risk of a ruptured blood vessel. That pressure surge can also dislodge a blood clot that may have already formed due to the other traps we've discussed. It is the final piece of the puzzle, the final push that sends a fragile system over the edge. I had a friend named George. He was a funny man, always saying he had the memory of a goldfish. He would forget his keys, forget people's names, and sometimes, he would forget to take his pills. He saw it as part of his personality. His wife bought him a daily pill organizer, but he still often missed a dose. "It's just one day, what's the harm?" he used to say. One morning, that one day arrived. George didn't wake up. The morning blood pressure surge, with no medication to restrain it, had become too powerful. It caused a hemorrhagic stroke while he was sleeping. Just one day cost him all the days he had left. Forgetfulness is not a personality trait. When it comes to your health, it is an enemy. And I want to ask you, have you ever forgotten to take an important dose of medication? Even just once? If the answer is yes, I don't want you to feel guilty. I want you to comment with the number 1. If you always remember, please comment with the number 0. Let these numbers remind us all of the importance of discipline. And we can conquer this forgetfulness. We can build an unbreakable system of protection. 1. Use a tool. A daily or weekly pill organizer. It is not a sign of old age, it is a symbol of wisdom and responsibility. 2. Create a ritual. Link your pill taking to another habit you never forget. For example, right after I brush my teeth in the morning, I will take my pill. Let those 2 actions become 1. 3. Set an alarm. Don't just set one. Set 2 or 3 alarms on your phone or clock, 5 minutes apart. Call them your alarms for life. And 4. Ask for help. Tell your spouse or your children, please remind me to take my medicine every morning. Don't see it as being a nuisance. It is an act of love. 1 tiny pill. 1 simple action. But it is the commitment you make to your life. It is the promise you make to your loved ones that you will still be here, healthy and sharp, tomorrow and for many days to come. So, we have now unmasked all 7 traps. 7 silent enemies hiding in our morning routines. But knowing about them is only the first step. What do we do with this knowledge now? How do we turn fear into strength and anxiety into action? Stay with me for the final part, as we find the answer together. So, we have traveled a long road together. We have looked all 7 silent enemies in the eye. We have unmasked the traps hiding in the moment we rise, in our coffee cups, in our bathrooms, on our breakfast plates, on our screens, and even in our forgetfulness. Now, you know. But I understand that knowledge can sometimes feel like a heavy burden. It can plant seeds of fear, turning each morning into a time of anxiety. If you are feeling that way right now, please, take a deep breath with me. Because the purpose of our conversation today was not to take away your peace of mind. It was to give you back true peace of mind. The kind that comes not from ignorance, but from understanding and control. Do you remember my promise at the beginning of this video? I said I would not only show you the traps, but I would also give you a shield. And now, it is time for me to keep that promise. I have spent many weeks distilling all of these hard-earned lessons, all of this scientific research, and turning it into the simplest possible form. Something you can touch, something you can use every single day. I call it Harold's 7-Step Morning Safety Checklist. It is not a long lecture. It is just a single piece of paper, with 7 simple, clear bullet points, reminding you of each safe step. From the golden 90-second ritual to drinking water before coffee, and even the reminder for your life-saving pill. This is your power. This is how we turn fear into action. And I want to give it to you, completely free, as a gift from the heart of a friend. Please, click the very first link in the description below this video to download it. Print it out, and tape it where you will see it first thing every morning. Let it become the silent guardian of your senior health. And this is the last thing I want to say. Information does not change a life. Only action changes a life. Do not let what we have spoken about today drift away like smoke. Start with just one small change tomorrow morning. Just one. And then the day after, add another. You are not alone on this journey. Our Healthy Living with Harold community is here to walk together. If you found our conversation today valuable, if it lit a spark of hope or a new awareness in you, I ask for just one simple thing. Please comment with the number 1. That number is a priceless encouragement to me, letting me know that I am on the right path. And please, share this video. Send it to a brother, a sister, a friend, or to your parents. Your small act of sharing could be the greatest gift of health you ever give them. Thank you for spending your time listening to an old man like me. Please press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so we don't miss each other in our future conversations. Take care of yourself. And remember, every sunrise is not a threat. It is a promise. A promise of one more day to live, to love, and to grow wiser. Goodbye.